this tutorial, we will cover the installation of the ChipChop Arduino library, and we will go through the steps both for Arduino IDE and PlatformIO. So first thing, we need to go and download the actual files. So if we go to chipchop.io, there are two places where you can find the download link. One is in the Docs and API, and then in the main menu you have Arduino library. On this page, this is the main page, and that gets updated with any changes or updates. You have an explanation of how the library works, the structure and a few little quirks, and you also have the link to download the code. The second place is directly in the development console, and that's probably most likely the place where you will download the library. If you're working on a specific project, you can just quickly go into downloads and then hit the download link. And if we unzip now the downloaded file, we can see the structure. We have the ChipChop folder, and that in the source folder, these two files are the actual library itself. And then we also have this WebSockets 2 generic modified folder that contains the WebSockets dependency, and this is only needed for those that are using PlatformIO. You have the installation instructions text file, and that will pretty much contain everything that we will cover in this tutorial, and it's there for you for your reference, and you don't have to rewatch the video, you can just use that. So first we will cover the Arduino IDE installation. So if I start the Arduino IDE, first thing you need to do is you need to install the WebSockets 2 dependency. There are two ways of doing it. Either go in this menu here and you have the library manager like this, or you can go through Sketch and include library, and then again manage libraries. It will get you into the same place. And just do a search for WebSockets 2, not just WebSockets, because if you go to WebSockets, if you just search for WebSockets, these ones are not the ones you want. You want these ones, WebSockets 2 generic, because they cover a vast array of boards. And if we go install, there is a ton of dependencies that need to be also installed, so it may take a minute or so. I already have them, so it'll be pretty quick. And let's go install all, and that's it. That part is done. And then the next step, we need to add the actual ChipChop library. There are two different ways of doing that. I'll show you the way I do it normally, and I prefer doing it that way, and that's a manual install, and it's very simple. Arduino IDE keeps its files, its libraries, and your files in the documents folder. It's the user's documents folder. So on the Mac, that will be under your user and then documents. On a PC, it will be again under your user account, my documents. And here is the Arduino folder, and if we open it, we have the libraries there, and we just open the libraries, and all we have to do is drag and drop or copy the entire ChipChop folder from the download. If we go back now into Arduino IDE, under files and examples, under custom libraries, there is no ChipChop yet. What we need to do is we actually need to restart the Arduino IDE. So I'm just going to quit, and then I'm going to start it again. So now it can load the library we've manually copied. And now if we look under file, examples from custom libraries, and we have ChipChop. There are three different examples. The all functions, if we open that one, contains pretty much all the calls you can do to the ChipChop manager library, and the callbacks that you get back from it. And it it's pretty clear. Everything is well commented. You will see clearly what goes into the setup, declarations of the different callbacks, and also the various settings you can do before your program actually starts. And then also what goes into the main loop, and again different calls, API calls to the library. I would say that a good option is to have a look at the other tutorials, like the Smart LED or Smart Button tutorial, and they will call for loading one of these examples. So if we go for Smart LED, the tutorials are really short and down to the point, and all this code will go through all of it. It's pretty straightforward to use, and you have those examples as a constant reference there for you. Next thing, we will go now through the installation for PlatformIO. You are only using Arduino IDE. You can skip the rest of the video and have a look at some of the other tutorials. So now I'm going to open VS Code, and I have PlatformIO ready. I just need to create a little test project, and I need to choose a board. I'll use a generic one. It doesn't really matter here for this example. And PlatformIO has created now an empty folder structure for me. PlatformIO saves its files in exactly the same place as Arduino by default, and that's in the user's documents folder. So if we look here now, we have this little test project built for us. And what we need to do is now copy both of these folders into the lib folder of this project, and they will be added as a dependency. And this is the only difference between the installation with Arduino IDE and PlatformIO. We are now manually including also this WebSockets2 generic library. The reason for that is that this is a cut-down version that is optimized only for the ESP8266 and ESP32 boards, because the full library does not behave that well with PlatformIO. The full library supports all sorts of boards, and for some reason it doesn't want to compile that nicely under PlatformIO. And I've spent some time extracting the parts just for the ESP8266. If you need to use it with something else, use ChipChop with a different type of board, not the ESP chipset, post the question in the forum, and either myself or somebody else will try to help you and maybe extract just that particular board from the WebSockets library. And I will show you what happens and how, why is it done this way. So now in PlatformIO we also have the examples. They just live now they're in the ChipChop folder, the library folder under examples. And if we have a look at, let's say, Smart LED, we'll just copy that and paste it, replace the code in the main CPP, and that's now available for us to work on. And if I do a quick build, I'm just building without a device. We're just going to compile this to see if it works fine, if there are no errors, and there shouldn't be. Let's have a look. And here we go. This compiles absolutely fine. I will show you what happens when we try to use the full WebSockets2 library and why we use this particular version. If you're not interested, you can just skip the rest of the video, but it could prove helpful in the future. So what I will do now is I'm going to remove this library, this version that we've added manually, and then in PlatformIO I will go into libraries and search for WebSockets2. Okay, and then I'm going to add this to the project. And this could take a while. This library links all sorts of little files for various boards, so it may take a minute or so. Don't worry if it's just spinning there doing nothing. And if this takes too long, I will skip the video till it's done. And here we go. We have the library has downloaded everything that it needs, and there is a lot of little files here that are probably completely unrelated to what you do and the boards that you use. But anyway, this is the way most people would install the library. So they will add it as a dependency. And if we have a look now in the PlatformIO INI file, we have now this library declared as a dependency. So it will be included in our compilation. And now let's try to compile this and see what happens. So this is now the full version. And boom, it's not happy. The reason for that is that, as I said, this is trying to do a lot, and it took me a while to just extract just the bits for the ESP chipset. You can give it a go if you want, and if you do get this working, just please post it in the forum for others to use. All I could do was just to extract the ESP parts from it. Now this is another useful little hint. What happened to me then when I've done this a couple of times, I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to remove this dependency from here. Okay, and then I'm going to put back my little optimized version. Here we go. And if I clear this, and I thought, okay, well, I'm now just going to rebuild and see what happens, if it works fine. And this is not going to work. It's going to crash again. But why? Even though we've removed the dependency here, PlatformIO is clever, and it's actually caching things from the previous build, and it's actually here. We still have all these libdebs, and there is a conflict somewhere here. I think it's with this STM32. Somewhere there is a conflict. So what we need to do is either you go into this test project folder, and you can see this hidden .pio file, and in the libdebs just delete this whole thing, or in VS Code, make sure that you have the project's tasks showing for PlatformIO, and then you have a handy little button saying full clean. Press that, and that will get rid of the previous build. Okay, so you see libdebs is now empty, and we can now compile again without all that rubbish. Let's have a look. And yep, we're back in business. So that's it. That's all you need to know how to install the ChipChop library through PlatformIO and the little quirks. If you get stuck, as I said, just post a question in the forum and someone will help you. And I hope you've enjoyed this, and have fun.